Hello, gentle people. If this is your first time visiting the Sparrow Art Vibes YouTube channel, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, subscriber, of course, welcome back. Today's video was not actually the video I planned on doing. I have both a Shopify and an Etsy store. And over the weekend, I got an order to create a purple and gold chess and checker set. And I had actually started working on the board, had poured the resin for the board, and then decided, you know what, since I'm doing this, let me go ahead and use this as this week's video. So I am going to be showing you how I create the actual chess boards, chess checkers boards for the sets that I sell online. This one will be different because it also has some personalization, some initials added to it. Hopefully you will be inspired to make your own chess and checkers set. The pieces for this set will be made in a separate video. So let's take a look at the materials that we need. Of course, the first thing we need is the chessboard mold, and that's it right here. And then we need our resin. Of course, my go-to is the Craft Smart. This is the part A, casting resin. This is the part B, hardener. Because of the volume of resin that I'm going to be using, I need a mixing bowl as well as the stir paddle. And then in order to do the squares, I just need the small measuring cup, and we're going to need 2 stir sticks because we're doing, two stir sticks, 2 paper cups. In addition to the 2 wooden or popsicle stir sticks, I'm also going to be using this silicone stir stick, and that's so I don't scratch my mold. We need our nitrile gloves. I have figured out, or I don't know, figure out is the word, I have found that the easiest way for me to get the resin into the squares is to use a squeeze bottle. So I'm just using this hair color bottle, Root Rescue. The mica powders that we're going to be using are Eye Candy's Barney Purple, Eye Candy's Aura Gold, and for the background, this kind of sparkling Oriya Gold. And lest I forget anything, I think that's it. So I actually had started this before I decided to use this for the YouTube video. So I filled a squeeze bottle with purple resin that was already mixed. And so what you'll see is me filling each of the squares with the purple resin. And once I finish filling the squares with the resin, I then use the toothpick to push the resin into each of the corners of each of the squares. You have to be very careful using a toothpick because you can scratch the surface of your mold. this was on another table. This was recorded on another table because I was using this work area for a different project. So now the purple is done, the purple is dry. So now we want to do our gold. So that means I am going to be pouring 30 milliliters of the Part B hardener. And 30 milliliters of the Part A resin. So that we have a total of 60 milliliters. And as the case with all Craft Smart resin, we are going to mix this for 5 minutes. Alrighty, so now we want to pour this resin into the small cup so we can add the mica powder. And I'm using the Eye Candy Aura Gold. Aura was my grandmother's name. So we're going to use the Aura Gold. And so once the resin, the color has been added, I color my hair. I color my hair once a month. And so I use the L'Oreal Root Rescue. These bottles are particularly handy. And so what I do is after this is mixed, you can hear the lawn care people behind me. Sorry about the noise from the lawn care people. But anyway, I transfer the resin into this bottle. I have tried a variety of ways of adding the resin to this board, and this turns out to be the fastest and most convenient way to do it. And when you are looking to figure out your pricing, one of the things that I noticed that a lot of people, and when you are working on your pricing, deciding on your pricing, a lot of times we really do not charge for the amount of time it takes us to make some of these beautiful creations. But doing these squares is quite time consuming. I see I have a little purple overflow. Oops. Just making sure that any drips, purple drips that were on here are gone. Okay, and so today I'm actually going to time how long it takes me to do the color on one set. I've been competing with the lawn care guy, so I'm sorry if the audio was not clear. But again, the time when you are doing this is not just putting the resin in the squares, but making sure each one of these squares is in fact square. So I am going to time today how long it really takes me to do this. So here we go. So now I need to push all of this resin into the corners and square each of these off. And this is the time-consuming part. If you are using a toothpick, like I'm doing, be careful not to scratch your mold, because any scratch that you leave on the mold will show up on the surface of the board. I have tried doing this with my silicone stick just to make sure I don't scratch my mold, but you can't get in the corners. I can spread this faster with the silicone stick, but I cannot get the corners. So I can do this. Okay, so now that these for the most part have been spread out, now I need to take the toothpick and go back and square these corners and fill in any blank spaces. All right, hold on, nope, got missing a spot there. Missing a spot right there. All right, so my gold squares are done, so now we need the heat gun to pop any air bubbles. Alright, and then we just eyeball this and just check to make sure all of our corners are square, that we don't have any run over, any spillage. This looks really, really nice. That looks real good, and it took me almost 45 minutes to do the gold squares. 44 minutes and 14 seconds, so basically 45 minutes to do each color. And so I am going to cover this and let this dry, and then I will be back in a few hours to pour the background color. Okay, I am back and the gold is dry. All of this is dry, so now we need to pour the background. I did spill some resin over here, so let's just get this out of there. Yeah, it peels up. You hear my dogs whining. All right, so now we need to pour the background for this, and I'm going to do the background in gold. And we need 600 milliliters. So again, I always mark my bowl 300 and 600. So we're going to get that poured. So that's 300 milliliters of the Part B hardener. And 300 milliliters of the Part A resin. And we know with Craft Smart, we mix for 5 minutes. And so let's hit start. So the gold that I used on the squares is Aura gold, but I am going to be using a lighter Oriya gold for the background. So our resin is mixed, so now we just need to add a nice heaping spoonful of the Oriya. And while I'm not adding glitter at all to this particular set, this Oriya gold looks like it has flecks, microscopic flecks of gold in it. It's very pretty. So it'll give us a little bit of bling without bling. And so all we're going to do now is just pour this into the center for our background. And here we go. Oops, I got a little something. Got a little something over here. Get rid of that. And anybody who's ever watched any of my videos knows my table is not level, so I do have some popsicle sticks under this edge over here. And you see more of it is running this way than that way. Okay, and then we will finish pouring. And so again, we're full here, but that corner is empty. So let's just tilt this a little bit, move some resin to that other corner. Ooh, ooh, I'm pouring it out. Look at me making a mess over here. And watch how this comes right back over here because this table is not level. Look at that. This rolled right back over here. All right, and then we'll hit this with our heat gun to get rid of any air bubbles. I see bubbles right here, but we're gonna go over the whole thing with the heat gun. So we're going to, so now we're going to cover this and allow it to cure overnight. Hello again, gentle people. I am back. It is the next day. So we are going to uncover our chessboard and unmold it. Alrighty, that's kind of pretty. I like that. Alright, so let's turn her over and let's see what we're working with here. Voila! That's nice. That's nice. Like the little dark centers in the purple, and like the little dark center in the gold, and then the edge is just nice and light. That's what we're working with. So the next steps we need to do is, first of all, just take the Dremel. Remember, I always sand the edges of everything. So we're going to take the Dremel, sand these edges. We're going to put our rubber bumps on here. And then this board is going to be personalized with some initials. So we're going to get on the Cricut and cut out some initials, and we're going to plop initials here, and then we'll do a clear coat. So right now, let's just sand these edges. Let me get my Dremel and my mask and my vacuum cleaner. Okay, and we'll go ahead and put our rubber bumps on here. The 3M rubber bumps. That way when it's on the table, we don't have to worry about it scratching the furniture. And because these are rubber, the board's not going to slide or move around. And one right in the center. Okay, so now I have to go get the lettering to go on here, and we'll put the lettering on and then we'll pour the clear coat. Alright, I am back and I have cut out the initials. I've cut out the initials on my Cricut Joy, and I have my, this is a, what is it called? Shimmer vinyl. So you need to use the strong grip transfer tape. So we are just going to cut this. We are going to lay this here. Put this separated. And we're going to put the transfer tape over this, burnish it, take the backing off, and then with your board you are always have the light colored square to your right, so we're just going to put the SP right there, burnish it in place. Remove the transfer paper, then burnish it again with the backing paper. So there, we have the SP on that corner, and we're going to do the same process on the other corner. And this is a slightly different font. I like to vary the fonts just to be a little more, give it a little more interest. So again, a quick burnish. Remove the backing. Oops, can't get a hold of that. Okay, there we go. Place this here. burnish it. Remove the transfer tape. Then burnish it with the backing. And so now we have the initials in the other corner. So even if you were to go someplace and purchase a purple and gold board, you know that this is custom because it has the initials on it. So now all I have to do is mix 100 milliliters of clear resin to do the clear coat, and we are through with this. Okay, so I always mark the amounts on my measuring cup, so that's 50 and 100. So we need 50 milliliters of the Part B hardener. $50 milliliters of the Part A resin. And we've done this a million times, so we know that our mixing ratio is 1 to 1, and we know that we are mixing this for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So now we need to elevate our board, and I just love using my little yogurt cups. And so we're going to just set 4 cups here. Set our board up there. One more wipe to make sure you got rid of all the dust. These Swiffer cloth things are just too cool. You hear my dogs. Okay, so now all we're going to do is just pour the resin onto the board to give it a final seal. This does 2 things. 1, it seals in the lettering, and then 2, because you have all of these seams, when I first did this, I wasn't putting a clear coat on these boards, and it would actually bend at the seam. So then I went back and started making sure that I did clear coat on every one, and then that keeps it from flexing or bending. And we're just pouring this. And then I like to just use my little plastic palette knife to spread this. And we're going right, just not quite to the edges. And the reason I don't go all the way to the edge is because once you use the heat gun to pop the air bubbles and the resin warms up, it expands. And so I don't want it to run off the edge. Even though this is elevated, I don't want the resin to drip down the sides. So we'll go just right to the edges there. And then we'll smooth across here. And of course, you know, resin is self-leveling. And I usually like to do this on an angle. And so we are just evenly spreading this clear coat. And again, the clear coat keeps the board from warping because it is weak on each of these lines, each of these seams. And so if you do a clear coat, it's like reinforcing it. Okay, so once I have it all spread out, we're going to hit it with the heat gun to pop any air bubbles. And so now that this is warmed up, you can't actually tell, I don't think, in the camera, but all this resin now has on its own worked its way to the edge. And that's why I said we don't push it to the edge, because once you heat it up and it expands, it's going to move on its own. So now I'm just making sure that it is right to the edge. I don't want it to run over the edge. I don't want to have to deal with drips on the bottom. That looks real good right there, so we've got to get this corner up here. That looks good, good, good. Okay, we're missing. Okay, and then once you've done that, then go back and eyeball it. Get down eye level and look to see if there are any spots missing. There's a little dot right there that I missed. So what's left over in this container? Whatever's left. You know, you always have resin that pools in the bottom, so this is that pooling resin. Alrighty, one more pass with the heat gun. And then I like to just take a paper towel and just go right along the edge to make sure I had no drips. This is clean. That's clean. And that's clean. Alrighty. So now we want to cover this and allow this to cure the rest of the afternoon. And I'm just double checking everything looks good. All my corners, all my edges look even. I'm satisfied. So we are going to cover this and allow it to cure. I am back, and this should be dry. Let's get the cover off of here. Oh yeah. Okay, nice. Boy, that's a glass-like finish. Very good. Oh, I have one drip right here in the corner. Let me see. One drip right there. Otherwise, everything else is fine. So let me just see if I can trim that and sand that down. One drip, otherwise that looks really nice. Let's see if I can trim this with my cuticle. Okay, I cut it off. But yeah, this is, although it's dry, you put something on it, it leaves an impression. Oops, 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 oops. That we don't want. Okay, so there it is.